Good morning. If you feel like everything is falling apart, if the weight of the world seems too heavy, hear this: you are stronger than you think. Life will test you. Life will take things away, sometimes without warning. But what you control, always, are your thoughts, your choices, and your actions. Focus on what you can control: your mind, your choices, your actions. This simple idea carries more power than most people realize, because so much of life feels unpredictable and overwhelming. Events happen that are completely outside your influence: circumstances, other people's decisions, unexpected setbacks. If you waste energy on these things, you will feel frustrated, powerless, and lost. The moment you realize that your control begins and ends with your own thoughts, your own decisions, and your own behavior, you start to find clarity. Your mind is the center of everything. Every feeling, every reaction, every judgment begins there. If your mind is unsettled, your world feels unsettled, no matter how calm the external situation might be. But if your mind is steady, then you can face storms, disappointments, and uncertainty with composure. The first step is to train yourself to notice when your attention drifts to what you cannot control. Maybe someone treats you unfairly. Maybe an opportunity is lost. Maybe a natural event disrupts your plans. These are outside your power. You cannot change them. Yet, your response is entirely within your control. You decide whether to react with anger, resentment, or despair, or whether to respond with patience, understanding, and effort where it matters. Your choices matter more than circumstances. When you consistently focus on what you can control, you stop wasting energy on impossible battles and redirect it toward growth, learning, and action. The mind can be a battlefield, full of thoughts that pull you in all directions. But it is also a tool, a compass, and a source of freedom if you manage it wisely. Each thought that arises does not have to dictate your mood or your actions. You have the ability to examine it, challenge it, and redirect it. In moments of difficulty, remind yourself that control is internal, not external. You cannot dictate the world, but you can dictate how you approach it. You can choose clarity over confusion, effort over despair, discipline over chaos. Your choices compound over time. Small decisions about how you think, how you respond, and how you act build patterns that determine the course of your life. If you focus on what is controllable, you create stability amid uncertainty. The actions you take, even small ones, are powerful because they are deliberate. They are expressions of your judgment and values. While the external world may fluctuate, your disciplined attention to your own actions becomes a foundation that nothing can shake. Every morning, you can remind yourself of this truth: the world will not always go your way, but your mind, your choices, and your behavior are yours to govern. In controlling these, you discover a freedom that cannot be taken from you. It is quiet, steady, and resilient, unlike the fleeting approval or comfort that comes from outside sources. People often wait for circumstances to be favorable before they act, but those who focus on what they can control act, regardless of conditions. This mindset turns obstacles into opportunities. When challenges arise, the person who understands the limits of their control does not complain or resist what is inevitable. Instead, they examine the situation calmly, decide what action is possible, and carry it out. This is not passivity, it is deliberate, thoughtful engagement with reality. When you focus on your mind, you cultivate awareness. When you focus on your choices, you cultivate responsibility. When you focus on your actions, you cultivate discipline. These three: awareness, responsibility, and discipline work together to create a life guided by intention rather than chaos. You may be surprised how much peace comes from this focus. As external events shift, as people act unpredictably, and as the world seems uncertain, you will find a steady center inside yourself. That center is the product of your attention to what you can control, the thoughts you allow, the choices you make, and the actions you take. Pain, loss, and hardship are part of life. They are unavoidable, universal experiences that touch everyone at some point. No one is exempt from disappointment, no one escapes struggle, and no one avoids grief. Life does not promise comfort or ease. It promises challenges, tests, and situations that push us to our limits. Understanding this truth is the beginning of wisdom. When we accept that hardship is natural, we stop being shocked or paralyzed when it arrives. Instead, we are better prepared to face it with clarity and strength. Pain comes in many forms: the loss of someone we love, the failure of our plans, the betrayal of trust, or the sudden collapse of something we relied upon. Loss is often accompanied by fear, sadness, or anger, and it can feel overwhelming. Yet, these feelings themselves are not the enemy. They are natural responses to what has happened. The key is not to deny them or fight them endlessly, but to acknowledge them, process them, and then focus on how to move forward. Hardship teaches lessons that comfort never can. It teaches resilience by forcing us to adapt, patience by forcing us to wait and endure, and wisdom by showing us the limits of what we can control. It also teaches gratitude, because only through loss do we truly recognize what we had, and through suffering do we appreciate moments of ease. People often resist pain, wishing it would disappear, hoping life would be easier, but resistance only magnifies suffering. Pain becomes heavier when we try to avoid it or wish it away, because we are fighting reality instead of accepting it. When we accept hardship as a natural part of life, we free ourselves from unnecessary struggle. We can face difficulties with calmness rather than panic, with clarity rather than confusion. This does not mean we welcome suffering, but we meet it with courage, recognizing that it is a chance to practice virtue and grow stronger. Hardship also reveals character. In comfortable times, it is easy to be content, kind, and patient. In difficult times, these qualities are tested. How we respond to loss and pain defines us far more than how we respond to comfort. People who learn to meet hardship with dignity and strength gain an inner freedom that is not affected by external events. Every person will encounter moments when the world seems cruel or unfair. Unexpected events can disrupt life in ways we never imagined. Illness, failure, rejection, and death are part of the human experience. These moments are opportunities to practice resilience, to examine our reactions, and to focus on what we can control, even if the situation itself is uncontrollable. Pain is also temporary, even when it feels endless. Emotions shift, circumstances change, and time moves forward. By facing hardship directly, rather than avoiding it, we find that we are capable of enduring far more than we imagined. Each challenge strengthens our ability to handle the next one. Loss, too, is not final in its impact on our character. What is gone cannot always be restored, but the lessons, the growth, and the strength we gain from experiencing it remain. When hardship comes, we can remind ourselves that this is life, not punishment. These experiences are universal, shaping every person who has lived. No one is alone in facing pain. In fact, understanding that others endure hardships too can bring perspective and even comfort. It allows us to act with empathy, to support others, and to recognize the shared struggle of being human. Over time, we come to see hardship not as something to fear or resent, but as a natural force that shapes us, teaches us, and reveals our inner resources. Respond with courage, calm, and purpose. Life will often present situations that feel frightening, unfair, or overwhelming. In these moments, the natural reaction is to panic, to become angry, or to retreat. It is normal to feel fear or discomfort, but it is also within your power to decide how you respond. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is acting despite fear. It is standing firm when circumstances push you to run, to give up, or to lose hope. Each decision you make in a difficult moment is an opportunity to exercise courage. You can choose to face the challenge with steadiness, to take a step forward even when the path is uncertain. Calm is equally essential. When fear or anger rises, the mind becomes clouded. Decisions made in chaos often lead to regret or harm. By cultivating calm, you create space to see clearly, to think strategically, and to act effectively. Calmness does not mean passivity. It means holding your composure so that your actions are deliberate and purposeful. Purpose is what gives your courage and calm meaning. Acting without direction can lead to wasted effort or confusion. Purpose provides a guiding principle, a reason to endure difficulty, and a sense of direction even in chaos. When you respond with purpose, every action, no matter how small, contributes to something meaningful. Together, courage, calm, and purpose create a mindset that can navigate the harshest storms. Life will throw unexpected events your way, failures, losses, mistakes, and obstacles. But if you respond with these qualities, you remain effective and resilient. Courage helps you face what must be faced. Calm helps you think clearly, and avoid being swept away by emotion. Purpose ensures your actions are aligned with your values and goals. This approach can be applied in all aspects of life. In relationships, when conflict arises, courage allows you to speak truthfully, calm allows you to listen and understand, and purpose keeps your intentions honest and fair. In work or personal projects, when setbacks occur, courage helps you try again, calm helps you find solutions rather than panic, and purpose guides you toward meaningful progress. In health, in financial struggles, or in personal loss, courage, calm, and purpose help you endure without being overwhelmed. Developing these qualities is a practice, not a one-time event. It requires mindfulness, self-awareness, and repeated effort. Every time you choose to act with courage instead of fear, with calm instead of chaos, and with purpose instead of aimlessness, you strengthen these qualities within yourself. They become habits, forming the foundation of your character. Difficult situations also provide opportunities to observe and refine these qualities. When you are tested, you can notice where you react with fear, where your mind becomes unsettled, and where your actions lack clarity. Each observation is a chance to improve. Courage can be cultivated by deliberately facing small fears until you are ready for larger ones. Calm can be cultivated through reflection, breathing, and focusing on what is within your control. Purpose can be cultivated by defining your values, understanding your goals, and reminding yourself why your actions matter. Responding this way does not mean life becomes easy. Pain, frustration, and disappointment will still come, but your response will determine the quality of your experience. Instead of being swept away by emotion or circumstance, you maintain agency over your life. You create a rhythm in which every challenge is met with deliberate effort, every obstacle is faced with steady resolve, and every decision is aligned with your deeper intentions. Over time, this approach builds strength, resilience, and a sense of inner freedom that is unaffected by the unpredictability of the world. Do not dwell on what is gone or outside your control. It is human to look back at what has been lost, to think about opportunities missed, or to focus on events that cannot be changed. Yet, spending energy on these things does not bring relief or solutions. The past is fixed, and the future is uncertain. Only the present moment is yours to act upon. When you focus on what is beyond your control, you give your power away. You allow external forces to dictate your mood, your decisions, and your sense of peace. Life is full of events you cannot influence: the actions of other people, the timing of events, accidents, illnesses, and circumstances. Worrying about these things or regretting them accomplishes nothing. Instead, it drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and prevents you from taking meaningful action in the areas where you do have control. By letting go of the past and uncontrollable events, you free yourself to focus on what is meaningful and productive. Your energy is a limited resource, and directing it toward futile thoughts weakens your ability to handle the challenges that truly matter. Acceptance is key. Accept that some things cannot be changed, that people may act in ways you cannot predict, and that life does not always follow your plans. Acceptance is not weakness, it is clarity. It allows you to see situations as they are, rather than how you wish them to be. From this clarity comes better decision-making. When your attention is not scattered by regret or frustration, you can observe the world with realism and act where it matters. Letting go also fosters inner peace. The mind tends to hold on to grievances, mistakes, and losses. This creates tension, anxiety, and resentment. When you release what is outside your control, your mind becomes lighter, calmer, and more focused. This does not mean ignoring lessons from the past. Reflection can be useful if it leads to learning and improvement, but reflection becomes harmful when it turns into endless rumination. The goal is not to erase memory, but to prevent it from dominating your present choices. Similarly, focusing on what cannot be controlled in the future creates fear and uncertainty. Worrying about what might happen does not change the outcome, but it does change your mood and your ability to act. Instead, prepare as best you can within the realm of your influence, and then redirect your attention to the present actions that are available to you. The present is where life occurs and where your power truly lies. Every moment presents opportunities to act with intention, to respond with virtue, and to create progress. By concentrating on these moments, you reclaim authority over your life. People who master this principle notice a shift in how they experience challenges. External circumstances may still be difficult, but they are no longer overwhelming. The mind remains stable because it is not chained to uncontrollable forces. This stability allows for better decision-making, clearer thinking, and more effective action. You become resilient because you are anchored in what is real and manageable, rather than being tossed by the tides of what you cannot influence. Letting go of the uncontrollable also improves relationships. When you stop trying to force others to act according to your expectations, you reduce conflict and frustration. You can respond with empathy, understanding, and reason, rather than reacting impulsively to what is beyond your control. Over time, this practice becomes second nature. You begin to see life in terms of what you can change and what you cannot, and you direct your effort only toward the first. This leads to more meaningful achievements, less wasted energy, and a deeper sense of freedom. The mind becomes a place of focus, calm, and strength, because it is no longer weighed down by regret, resentment, or anxiety over things that cannot be altered. Strength is built through struggle and challenge. Life does not give strength as a gift. It is forged in moments of difficulty, resistance, and effort. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to develop endurance, resilience, and determination. When things are easy, when the path is smooth and predictable, there is little to test your character or fortify your abilities. It is in facing obstacles, enduring pain, and overcoming setbacks that true strength emerges. Struggle teaches you about yourself. When confronted with difficulty, you discover the limits of your patience, the depth of your courage, and the persistence of your will. Each hardship exposes weaknesses, but it also provides the chance to address them, to learn, and to grow. Challenges force you to adapt. Life rarely unfolds exactly as you plan, and the ability to adjust, to think creatively, and to respond effectively is a kind of strength that cannot be acquired in comfort. When you encounter unexpected problems, the way you respond matters more than the problem itself. Repeated exposure to struggle builds confidence. Each time you face adversity and come through it, you gain evidence of your capacity to endure, to act wisely, and to maintain composure. This confidence does not mean you will never feel fear or doubt, but it gives you a foundation to rely on, a reminder that you can handle difficulty and continue moving forward. Strength is not only physical, but also mental and emotional. Life challenges test your mind, your patience, your perspective, and your ability to remain steady. Emotional resilience is developed when you confront loss, disappointment, or betrayal, yet choose to continue acting with integrity and reason. Mental strength is honed when you persist in learning, problem-solving, and making thoughtful decisions despite uncertainty. Challenge also teaches humility. Every struggle reminds you that life is unpredictable, and that success is not guaranteed. Strength built through challenge is tempered with humility, recognizing that each person is subject to the same forces, and that perseverance matters more than pride or ego. Facing difficulty encourages persistence. The world will not always give you what you want, and many achievements require repeated effort over time. Each attempt, each effort, each small step forward in the face of resistance adds to your capacity to endure greater obstacles. Strength is also about consistency. It is not enough to rise to the occasion once. Real strength is demonstrated in the ability to continue, day after day, through varying circumstances, maintaining your principles and dedication. Challenge fosters patience. When life does not move according to your wishes, when progress is slow or uncertain, patience allows you to continue acting without being overwhelmed by frustration. This patience is itself a form of strength, a steady force that keeps you moving even when results are delayed. Struggle also teaches perspective. Difficult experiences allow you to see what is truly important, to distinguish between what is trivial and what deserves your energy. Strength grows as you learn to focus on meaningful action rather than being consumed by minor irritations or distractions. Over time, you begin to see that obstacles are not merely interruptions in life, they are essential elements that shape your character, sharpen your skills, and deepen your understanding. Each challenge contributes to a foundation of resilience, determination, and wisdom that cannot be taken away. By approaching life with the understanding that struggle, is the forge of strength. You begin to welcome difficulty as an opportunity, rather than fear it as a threat. You see that every obstacle, every setback, and every demanding situation carries within it the potential to make you stronger, more capable, and more prepared for whatever comes next. Hope comes from within. It is a choice you make. Many people search for hope outside themselves, expecting it to appear in circumstances, other people, or external achievements. They wait for events to change, for situations to improve, or for someone else to provide reassurance. This approach leaves them vulnerable, because the world is unpredictable, and relying on it for hope means relying on forces you cannot control. True hope, the kind that sustains you in difficult times, originates from within. It begins with the recognition that no matter what happens, you have the ability to respond, to act, and to endure. When you understand this, hope becomes not a fleeting feeling, but a steady, conscious choice. Choosing hope is an act of the mind. It is deciding to see possibilities where others see only obstacles, to focus on what can be done rather than what cannot, and to trust in your own capacity to meet life's challenges. This does not mean ignoring reality or pretending that difficulties do not exist. On the contrary, it requires clear-eyed acknowledgement of hardship. Hope is not denial, it is action guided by perspective. When you choose hope, you are refusing to give power to despair. You are refusing to let fear, doubt, or frustration dictate your decisions or control your emotions. This internal hope is empowering because it is always within your reach. Circumstances may shift, plans may fail, and people may disappoint you. But as long as you have your mind and your choices, hope is possible. Hope motivates action. It is not passive waiting or wishful thinking. Choosing hope encourages you to take steps forward, however small, even when the outcome is uncertain. It is hope that drives persistence, effort, and resilience in the face of difficulty. Each small action taken in hope strengthens your ability to endure the next challenge, reinforcing the idea that you are capable and resourceful. Cultivating internal hope also changes your perspective on setbacks. When misfortune strikes, instead of feeling crushed, you remind yourself that the situation is temporary, that you have faced challenges before, and that your response matters more than the event itself. This mindset reduces fear and builds confidence, because you know that your inner resources are reliable, no matter what external events occur. Hope within also brings peace. When you do not depend on external validation or conditions for your sense of possibility, your mind becomes less agitated, less anxious, and less reactive. You are able to approach life with calm determination, focusing on what you can do rather than being consumed by what you cannot. It is an anchor, holding you steady through uncertainty. Developing this inner hope is a practice. It requires daily attention to your thoughts, to your choices, and to the stories you tell yourself about what is possible. Each time you confront fear, doubt, or despair, you have the chance to reaffirm your commitment to hope, to choose action over inaction, and to focus on your own ability to navigate life. Hope also inspires others. When you act with confidence and resilience, when you demonstrate that challenges can be met without surrendering to despair, you become a source of encouragement to those around you. Internal hope is contagious because it shows that strength does not depend on circumstances, it comes from within. By recognizing that hope is a choice, you reclaim power over your life. You understand that no matter what happens, you can maintain purpose, make decisions aligned with your values, and continue to move forward. This understanding transforms how you face obstacles, setbacks, and uncertainty. Hope becomes a daily practice, a decision you make repeatedly, reinforcing your inner strength and capacity to endure. Stand again after every fall. Resilience is freedom. Life is full of setbacks, failures, and unexpected events that can knock us down. No one moves through life without stumbling, making mistakes, or facing situations that seem impossible to overcome. What defines a person is not the fall itself, but the decision to rise again. Each time you get back up, you strengthen your resilience, your ability to endure, and your understanding of your own inner power. Falling is inevitable, but remaining down is a choice. Resilience begins with accepting that failure and difficulty are part of life. When you stop fighting against the natural challenges of existence and instead meet them with awareness, you reclaim your agency. You realize that while you cannot always control what happens, you can control your response. The act of standing again transforms obstacles into lessons. Every failure, disappointment, or loss contains valuable insight about your strengths, weaknesses, and potential. By examining these experiences honestly and without judgment, you equip yourself to handle future challenges with greater skill and composure. Resilience is built through repeated practice. Each time you encounter adversity and choose to rise, you reinforce the habit of perseverance. This habit becomes a natural part of your character, a reliable resource that you can draw upon in times of difficulty. It is like a muscle that grows stronger each time it is used, enabling you to face even greater challenges with confidence. Standing again also requires courage. It is not easy to rise after being hurt, embarrassed, or defeated. Fear, doubt, and discouragement often follow a fall. Courage is the force that allows you to confront these emotions, to acknowledge them without being controlled by them, and to take action despite them. Freedom is found in this resilience. When you rely on your inner strength rather than external circumstances for stability, you are not easily shaken by events beyond your control. You are free because your peace, purpose, and determination do not depend on whether life unfolds according to your desires. Each rise builds self-trust. You learn that you are capable of enduring, recovering, and moving forward, no matter what happens. This trust in yourself reduces anxiety and increases confidence, because you know that no single event, loss, or failure can permanently define your life. Resilience also fosters patience. Life rarely delivers instant solutions or immediate recovery. Standing again often involves steady effort over time, small steps, and repeated attempts. Patience allows you to continue acting consistently without being discouraged by temporary setbacks or slow progress. Rising repeatedly also cultivates perspective. When you experience difficulty and recover, you see how challenges are temporary, how emotions shift, and how circumstances evolve. This perspective allows you to approach new difficulties with calmness, knowing that you have faced tough times before and emerged stronger. In addition, resilience strengthens empathy. When you understand your own struggles, you become more compassionate toward the struggles of others. You can offer support, encouragement, and understanding, knowing that hardship is a shared part of the human experience. Each fall and rise also teaches humility. You recognize that life is unpredictable, that no one is immune to difficulty, and that persistence and effort are more important than pride or appearance. By standing again after each fall, you build a foundation of inner strength, stability, and freedom that cannot be taken away by external events. This repeated practice transforms your relationship with life, allowing you to move through challenges with grace, confidence, and unwavering determination. Understanding that resilience is both a skill and a mindset cultivated through consistent effort and choice. Listen daily, and let these truths guide your life. The mind is shaped by what it absorbs repeatedly. If you fill your thoughts with distractions, complaints, or fears, they grow stronger, influencing your mood, decisions, and actions. But when you consistently focus on principles that promote strength, calm, resilience, and clarity, these qualities become habits embedded in your character. Daily listening is not just about hearing words, it is about internalizing them, reflecting on their meaning, and letting them influence how you respond to life. Each morning presents an opportunity to set the tone for your day. The first thoughts you nurture can determine your attitude, focus, and energy. By consciously choosing to remind yourself of what matters, your ability to control your mind, the inevitability of challenges, the importance of action, and the value of inner hope, you prepare yourself to face difficulties with composure and purpose. Listening daily reinforces perspective. Life can feel overwhelming if we are constantly reacting to events as they happen, without pause or reflection. Regularly focusing on guiding truths allows you to step back, assess situations clearly, and act deliberately rather than impulsively. Over time, repeated reminders strengthen your self-discipline. When you reinforce your values and principles each day, they become automatic guides for your behavior. You act according to what is important rather than being swayed by momentary emotions, distractions, or external pressures. Daily reflection also builds resilience. Hearing and contemplating these truths reminds you that setbacks, failures, and hardships are natural and temporary. You internalize the understanding that your response matters more than the event itself, which makes it easier to recover from difficulties when they occur. Consistent listening nurtures patience. When you remind yourself regularly that growth, progress, and recovery take time, you become less frustrated with delays or obstacles. You understand that persistence, rather than speed or perfection, is the true path to achievement. This daily habit also strengthens focus on what is controllable. When your mind is repeatedly guided toward your own actions, choices, and thoughts, you become less preoccupied with things beyond your influence. You conserve energy, avoid unnecessary worry, and direct effort where it has real impact. Regular reminders cultivate courage. When you face fear, uncertainty, or difficult decisions, the principles you have internalized serve as anchors. They remind you that you have faced challenges before, that you can act despite fear, and that each step forward matters. Daily listening fosters gratitude and mindfulness. By focusing each day on what is within your control and on your capacity to endure and act wisely, you become more aware of the small victories, the lessons learned, and the strength you carry within yourself. This awareness encourages appreciation for life as it is, rather than constant longing for what is absent or beyond reach. Listening every day also nurtures humility and empathy. Reflecting on these truths reminds you that life is unpredictable for everyone, that struggle is universal, and that patience, understanding, and compassion are essential in your interactions with others. Over time, repeated attention to these guiding principles forms a foundation for decision-making, emotional stability, and purposeful action. Your mind becomes like a well-tended garden. The seeds you plant daily grow into habits, attitudes, and behaviors that shape the life you live. Each day of conscious listening is an investment in your character, a step toward clarity, strength, and freedom. By internalizing these lessons regularly, you train yourself to navigate life's uncertainties with confidence, to act intentionally rather than react impulsively, and to live with calm determination, resilience, and hope. Letting these truths guide your decisions, actions, and the way you carry yourself in the world.